I never thought I'd hear the words my wife spat at me that night. "You're bad in bed, Michael," she said coldly. Her arms folded across her chest like she had just delivered some final judgment. We had been married for 5 years, and never, not once, had she said anything like that to me. I stood there, stunned, as though the foundation of our marriage had cracked open under my feet. It started as a small argument about chores. Lauren, my wife, was annoyed that I hadn't folded the laundry after getting home from work. I was tired, exhausted after teaching late at the community college in Boise, Idaho. And I told her I'd do it in the morning. Somehow, that small frustration escalated. She started nitpicking about everything. How I forgot to take out the trash, how I didn't plan date nights anymore, how I wasn't as attentive as I used to be. Then, like a knife, she delivered that line. "You're bad in bed." The room went silent. My chest tightened. My hands grew cold. That wasn't just an insult. It was humiliation. The kind that cuts deeper because it comes from the one person who's supposed to see you at your most vulnerable and still protect you. I laughed bitterly, trying to shield myself from the blow. "Really, Lauren? That's where we're going now?" Her lips curled in a smirk. "I'm just being honest. Maybe if you stopped being so boring, I wouldn't feel like I was missing out." I wanted to shout, to tell her how cruel she was being, but before I could respond, a voice from the doorway froze both of us. It was her best friend, Sophia, who had come over earlier for wine. She must have overheard everything. She stepped into the living room, arms crossed, her eyes sharp on Lauren. "That's not true," Sophia said, her voice steady, almost cutting. "Don't lie to him like that. You and I both know he's not the problem here." Lauren's face drained of color, then flushed red with fury. She spun towards Sophia, eyes wide, like she had just been betrayed in the worst possible way. "What did you just say?" she snapped, her voice shaking, half with rage, half with panic. "Sophia, you have no right to." But Sophia didn't flinch. She held her ground, eyes locked on my wife. "No right, Lauren. You just humiliated your husband over something that isn't even true. I've heard you brag to me before about how passionate your nights are with him. Don't act like you've been suffering." My jaw nearly dropped. I wasn't sure what stunned me more, the fact that Sophia was defending me, or the revelation that my wife had once talked positively about our intimacy to her friend. Lauren's lips trembled as she tried to form words, but all that came out was a sharp, "Shut up, Sophia." I sat frozen on the couch, caught between wanting to disappear and wanting to demand answers. The air in the room grew heavier by the second. Lauren's hands shook as she grabbed a glass from the coffee table and slammed it down. "Why are you even saying this? What's your angle?" Sophia let out a bitter laugh. "My angle? Maybe I'm just tired of watching you tear down a man who actually loves you. You push him away, then you blame him. You humiliate him just to cover your own guilt." "Guilt?" I finally spoke, my voice low. "What guilt?" Lauren turned to me, her eyes darting like a trapped animal. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Sophia answered instead, her tone sharp and unyielding. "She's been texting another guy, Michael. I've seen it. I wasn't going to get involved, but hearing her say what she just said, no, you don't deserve that." The floor might as well have collapsed beneath me. My ears rang. My pulse thundered in my temples. I stared at Lauren, my wife, the woman I trusted with every piece of myself. "Is that true?" I asked, my voice trembling. Lauren's face was pale now, all her bravado gone. It's not what you think, she stammered, her voice small. Sophia shook her head. Disgust etched across her features. Don't lie again, Lauren. He deserves the truth. You've been tearing him down to hide your own betrayal. That's what this is really about, isn't it? Lauren's lips parted, but no words came. Her silence was louder than any confession. The silence stretched until it became unbearable. I felt as if the walls were closing in, each second heavier than the last. My wife, the woman I thought I knew better than anyone, sat in front of me, unable to deny the truth. That silence alone told me everything. Lauren, I whispered, my voice breaking. After everything we've been through, why? Her eyes filled with tears, but I noticed that they weren't the tears of remorse. They were the tears of being exposed. I didn't mean for it to happen, she muttered, fumbling with her words. It was just someone who made me feel wanted. I never stopped loving you. I cut her off. Stop! The word echoed in the room like a verdict. My chest tightened, but I forced myself to keep breathing, to keep speaking. You humiliated me. Told me I wasn't good enough, all because you couldn't face your own lies. Do you realize what you've done? Lauren reached out, but I pulled away before her hand could touch mine. The very thought of her closeness made my skin crawl. She looked to Sophia as if pleading for backup, but Sophia's face was cold. I'm done covering for you, Sophia said sharply. You hurt him to protect yourself, and I won't stand by it anymore. If you loved him, you wouldn't have destroyed his trust just to save face. For the first time in our marriage, I saw Lauren cornered with no escape. The sharp-tongued woman who once wielded words like weapons now sat speechless, stripped of her defenses. I stood slowly, my hands shaking, my heart torn between devastation and an unfamiliar clarity. I don't know what the future holds, Lauren, but I know this. Our marriage can't survive on lies, and I won't let you make me feel worthless because of your mistakes. Lauren sobbed quietly, but I didn't wait for her excuses. I walked to the door, my body heavy, but my mind strangely calm. Sophia gave me a small, supportive nod as I passed her. That night marked the death of the marriage. Once believed unbreakable. Pain burned deep, but beneath it was something new. Resolve. Lauren's betrayal had shattered me, but it had also freed me. For the first time in years, I felt like I was standing on my own 2 feet, ready to rebuild a life without her shadows darkening my path.